It is Thursday, August 6th. This is the Christian Commute. I am your host, Seth Dunn, and welcome back. Welcome back to the Christian Commute. Welcome back to me. I'm at my office, and I'm leaving to go to a parent meeting at the school and then get home and do more work. But I came to work today. My kids have officially started school. Yesterday was the first day of school. Some of you are probably wondering where I've been. I think was my last show about the state of youth soccer, and it's been so long ago, a long time ago. I can't remember if I mentioned that my wife got a new job. It's an in-person job where you actually have to go every day. So that left us without anybody at home with our kids during the summer. And some of them are still pretty young. So I asked at work if I could work from home until school started. So I haven't been to work in a few weeks until today, but I'm here now. Actually, didn't have to come in today. I was going to come in tomorrow. Somebody was having the office was having a retirement luncheon for one of our longtime employees. So I came in for that. And now I'm on the way back home. I think I'll come to work tomorrow. It was so nice to get out of the house and come back and see some faces I haven't seen in a while. And it's even nicer to do the Christian Commute. It's been too long. I've had actual questions in the inbox rotting away. And stuff has been going on that I want to talk about. Ooh, it's hot. I'm sweating from getting in the car. I left my window down too. It's just hot. I don't miss this. So anyway, my car's really dirty because it's just been sitting in the driveway without me driving it. I may stop at Bucee's to get a car wash because they're at for every gallon of gas, you get $1 off a car wash. Well, it's some cockamamie scheme. I think if you pay, no. A car wash is $16. And you get $1 off the car wash for every gallon of gas that you get, but you got to pay money for the car wash. It's a different gas price. It's some convoluted thing, but the math works out if you get 15 gallons of gas, which I think by the time I get there I'll get. So if I have time, I'm closely monitoring my progress on the way home because I have this parents meeting for cross country. If I have time, I'm going to stop at Buccee's and get gas, and I think I do. The last thing I want to do is sit outside at this parents meeting. I'm wearing jeans. This is the first day in a long time I've put on a pair of blue jeans because I've just been wearing athletic shorts around the house. But guess what? I got a full show. Let's get into that. Today's show title or topic is Jeff Durbin criticizes John MacArthur. Jeff Durbin criticizes John MacArthur. I have a question in the inbox about the Why Project. And as always, we'll do the scripture review, the Bible chapter review. Let's start there. I think I left off at Luke chapter 13, verse 30. It's been so long and I didn't look. I could have. It's been so long. That's the Eagles. I could have looked through my last couple episodes and found it, but I was in my office and I was trying to get away to get to the park in time for this meeting, so I didn't do it. But I'm pretty sure I left off at Luke chapter 13, verse 30. So we're going to start with Luke chapter 13, and we're going to go through verses 31 through 33 today. Just at that time, some Pharisees approached, saying to him, "Go away, leave here, for Herod wants to kill you." And he said, "Go tell that fox. Behold, I cast out demons and perform cures today and tomorrow, and the third day I reach my goal. Nevertheless, I must journey on today and tomorrow and the next day, for it cannot be that a prophet would perish outside of Jerusalem." So what does this tell us? Jesus is on his way to Jerusalem to do what? To perish. That's what he's telling. So you have to remember, reading this, you have to read it like you already know what happened. If this was a work of literary fiction, we'd call this foreshadowing, since it's the Bible, we call it prophecy. Go back into the original context of the readers. There are already the sayings of Jesus well known. Scholars call the sayings of Jesus before they were written down in the Gospels Q. Like there's this document out there called Q, which is short for quell, which is a German word. I think it's just the German word for writing. And then Mark and Matthew are likely already out there. If you go to the beginning of Luke, remember Luke says, hey, Theophilus, I'm putting together my own account. So this is an account, other people have already put this account down. So it's one of those things like everybody knows when they go into reading this in its original context that Jesus is going to go to Jerusalem and be crucified. This is looking back on the cross and the resurrection from people who already know about the cross and the resurrection. Now, yes, people read this for the first time. Everybody throughout history is eventually going to read this or any other book for the first time. But we know this is Scripture. We're meant to read it over and over. So most of the time you ever read this, you know what happens and you're looking back. So Jesus is saying he has to go do what he has to do, which is perish in Jerusalem. And notice he says he reaches his goal on the third day. On the third day. But now let's back up to what the Pharisees are saying. Pharisees are saying, go away, leave here, Herod wants to kill you. I would like to think that they are genuinely concerned for Jesus' welfare. You got to get out of here. Herod wants to kill you. I don't think they are. I think they just want him to go away because he's embarrassing them. I think we can get that from context. Does Herod really want to kill him? I don't know. He got sent to Herod eventually, and Herod didn't kill him. Herod sent him back to the Romans. The Romans like, well, I'm going to send you the Jewish guy, the Jewish king. The Jewish king was like, I'm sending you back to the Romans. Now, we know Herod killed John the Baptist, but we also know he didn't really want to do that. Nevertheless, what does Jesus say? Go tell that fox. He's not complimenting him. Okay? So a fox, to them, is an animal that, to us too, it's an animal that steals chickens out of your chicken coop. We have the saying, fox in the hen house. He's not complimenting Herod here. And you see, Jesus is not afraid of the leadership to call them out for what they are, whether it's Herod or the Pharisees or whoever else. Go tell that fox. And what does he want Herod told? Herod, who supposedly wants his life, is seeking his life. I cast out demons and perform cures. In other words, Herod, if you're truly the Jewish king, you need to recognize the Jewish Messiah. By me, Jesus, the Messiah, casting out demons and working cures. And he's going to Jerusalem. It's important that this happens to Jerusalem because it's a witness against the people who reject him, but it's also a fulfillment of prophecy. That's where the temple is. That's where the veil is going to be rent. Jesus is dying in Jerusalem as the final sacrifice that ends the sacrificial system at the temple. It ends it theologically. People still try to carry on. Carry on my wayward son. That's what they do. They're wayward when they continue the sacrificial system. And he says, I do this today, I do this tomorrow. But he says the third day he reaches his goal. And that's why I brought up the point of people looking back on this, because they knew it was already a part of the mythos, if you will, of Christianity. It's a true myth, right? It was already part of the mythos of Christianity that Jesus died and rose again on the third day. He's saying he's accomplishing his real big goal, the end game, Thanos, Avengers Endgame. He's accomplishing the end game on the third day. And he's going to perish in Jerusalem. It cannot be that a prophet would perish outside of Jerusalem. No, it needs to happen there. And with that, we end the Bible chapter review. It's like I never took a day off. We jumped right back in. I hope there's people still listening. Let's move on to the inbox. This question is from James. He asked two. Is the Y project still going on? Yes. I don't have to really do anything. It just sits there until I make a new website. And how would you suggest someone implement a Y project in their city? So, quick reminder, the Y project is a series of websites that I've set up to chronicle the seeker-sensitive Ayatollah of rock and rolla goat churchedness of seeker-sensitive Ayatollah of rock and rolla goat churches in the Purple Haze, led by Pastor Electric Blue. So these multi-campus churches, they're usually non-denom or nominally Southern Baptist. They could be nominally Church of God too, or AOG. They start in your town. It's planted by somebody. They're going to start out in a movie theater or a school or somewhere. They're going to preach felt-need sermons. They're going to play Hillsong at you. They're going to grow a following. They're going to go according to a script that they get from the Unstuck group or some other church consultant. They're going to grow numbers, and then they're going to start multiplying, setting up franchises like a McDonald's. They're going to make multi-campuses, and they're going to bestride the narrow world like a Colossus. Everybody in town and your county is going to go to church there, but when you listen to the sermons, it's like, eh. And when you think about, I don't know, do the people who go here, are they kind of antinomian? There's not really a focus on holiness. They won't do things like voting church membership, by the way. They won't do things like accountability to church membership. They'll all be led by elders like some kind of business with a board of directors by and large. I mean, these are rules, but not really laws. You know, there's exceptions to the rules. But they won't have voting church membership. They'll be founded by some little visionary who has campus pastors working for him, which is unbiblical. They'll cater to a small group of rich people to provide for them. They'll demand lots and lots of voluntary labor for all their different children's programs and parking lot duty and this, that, and the other. I mean, everybody has parking lot duty, I guess. But the sermons will not be expository in nature. They will be ear-tickling in nature, but not necessarily heretical in nature. Not like Word of Faith, but it will be creating entertainment and trying to cater to people to get to come there. It'll be a Purple Haze. They'll have a light show. It's seeker-sensitive. It's about the feelsies, but there won't be church discipline and accountability. It's more like a concert with a preacher that says you're a member. So if you go see a stand-up comic, you really enjoy it. You go there with other fans, but you don't really have a part in it other than to watch. And if you like a concert, same thing. If you go see somebody you really like, it's a concert, you enjoy the songs, you're entertained. There's other people there who are fans of what you like, but you're not really a part of it. This is the idea that you're somehow a part of it as these people grow their empire and get rich and influence your community and become the church, but you really shouldn't go there. Why is it called the Y Project? Because the websites are why you shouldn't go there. And the ones that exist now are ycrosspoint.com, yrockbridge.com, ynorthpoint.org, which is really not finished, and yelevation.com. That's Stephen Furtick. So the idea is there's people, these seeker-sensitive Ayatollah of rock and roll goat churches in the Purple Haze, they have a good reputation in the town or towns they're in. So if you hand somebody a little tract, like I have right here, I have them in my car, that says ycrosspoint.com, people are, oh yeah, they think they're going to a website like ycrosspoint.com. This is why I should go there. Like, why not? And you go and it says, like, this is the history of the church, bad. Here's sermon reviews, bad. So it gets people into the website. It gives them an opportunity to critically look at what is being preached and critically look at what's going on. So if you go to yrockbridge.com, I mean, the smoking gun is their advertisement. They don't do this anymore, but they did an advertisement for a campus pastor whose job it is to meet with rich people. It literally says meet with 2 high capacity givers a month, proving that he's not a pastor, he's a sales executive. And yes, if you want to dig deep, you can listen to Matt Evans' sermon reviews, and they're bad. And I sit and review them and say, this is what he says, and it's bad. Okay, so that's what the Why Project is. And just like it says in the movie Ratatouille, anyone can cook, anyone can make a Why Project video. You don't have to have a PhD to do that. It helps to have theological education, which I have. But what you really need is, I don't know, $9.99 a month for the hosting service. Okay? So if there's one of these churches in your town, you don't need permission. You don't need credentials. You can just do it. This is America. These people are starting these seeker-sensitive little business churches like gas stations in America. They don't need permission. Neither do you to say, hey, wait a minute. Let's not go to this. All right. So yes, the Why Project is still active. And how would you suggest somebody implement them? Well, number one, you have to find a church worthy of a Why Project website. Okay? And by worthy, I mean worthy because it's bad and because it's big and bad. There's a million podunk churches out there that nobody should ever go to. That's Brother Billy Bob is the preacher and his 7 cousins are the deacons. Okay? Those are out there. But I'm talking about a church that's starting to influence your town. Let's get Shakespearean. Why, man, he doth bestride the narrow world like a colossus. Okay? So that's one. It needs to warrant a website, or else you just look petty. And number two, it needs to warrant a website because it's actually bad. So here's where you got to be really, really sure. Okay? When you're the executioner and you work for the state of Alabama or Tennessee or Georgia, and you're the guy who flips on the electric switch, what you're depending on the justice of our justice system, that it runs right, that they're not putting people to death wrong, because you're the one putting them to death. Okay? Not that a Why Project will ever put one of these churches out of business. I mean, the pastor could have a gay relationship with an intern and they just find a new visionary. Okay? These people, the band plays on. All right? The band plays on. But you got to be real sure, because a legitimate church is the bride of Christ, and you do not want to be going after the bride of Christ. So you have to find one that's really bad and unbiblical and has an unbiblical ecclesiology and preaches junk sermons. And you kind of have to have the idea that they're doing it on purpose, not by accident. We've all heard bad sermons by accident by somebody who, yeah, they're a pastor, they're a preacher, they're just not very good at it. Okay, I'm talking about bad sermons that are manipulative and calculated towards growing the vision of this organization that has in biblical ecclesiology. Let me tell you something. I didn't have one bit, one shred, one inkling of a reservation when I made whyelevation.com, because I think Stephen Furtick's a wolf. I didn't have one bit or one shred of hesitation when I made whynorthpoint.com, because Andy Stanley's a wolf. Now, here's where the other part comes in. You got to be ready, because if you're doing this in your own town, people are not going to like it. So you got to make sure your friends are your friends. And you got to make sure you have some kind of reputation as somebody who's doing it for the right reasons. Not just being mean or nitpicky. Because let me tell you, I work in Dalton and live in Cartersville, and the 2 first Y Project websites were Dalton and Cartersville. So I know people who go to church at these places. They're people, we're on ball teams together, we work together. I know people, these are people who could be friends with these pastors that I say, he's a terrible guy. Terrible preacher, terrible, unqualified, terrible. That could be their friend, all right? It hits home. But the reason you do it is because you care about your home. So you got to have some kind of mettle, all right? Number one, it's got to be worthy. Number 2, you got to be sure. Real sure. Everybody messes up. Messing up has to be the MO, not the rule, not the exception. And number 3, you got to have some metal. All right. But number 4, what do you need to do? Get on GoDaddy and buy the domain name. Let's just conceive of a Y Project church in any town, USA. Let's think. Let me come up with a name. It's got to be a good one. Revolution Church. All right. Revolution City Church. Whatever you want to call it. So let's say you're in. Let's think of a place. Glenn County, Georgia. And you have Revolution Church, Savannah, and they're branching out. They got one at St. Simon's. They got one in Brunswick. All right, Revolution Church. So what do you got to do? You get on GoDaddy and you buy the domain yrevolution.com, or if that's taken, yrevolution.org, if that's taken, yrevolutionchurch.com. Don't get on there and buy the domain revolutionchurchisterrible.com, because nobody's going to go to that. You're not trying to win the people who already think it's terrible. You're trying to win the people who think it's good, and they should bring their families there. So do that. Now say, wait a minute, do I have to know anything about web design? I personally know very little. Somebody does it for me for free. But listen, you can just buy GoDaddy Arrow, which is an AI program that'll design a website for you. It's, I don't know, $300 a year. I have it not for the Y Project websites. I have it for hegetsus.org, which is where I sell t-shirts that say that he's got us. He Gets Us is woke, and I don't like it. And they're all over the baseball network. So where He Gets Us, and they're all in the Super Bowl commercials. Oh, that's woke. So I've got a website called he'sgotus.org that's supposed to sell t-shirts that say He's Got Us and have a Bible verse about Jesus holding him in his hands and say He Gets Us is woke. But guess what? That's another website I haven't finished. I'm basically wasting money on GoDaddy Arrow, even though it's really easy to do. Because listen, I've got some. If it comes down to coaching 3 ball teams or making a t-shirt website, the ball teams, okay? Because this is all stuff I'm trying to do on top of my real job. If I was trying to make a bunch of t-shirt money, I'd have done it, but that's not my motivation. But yeah, man, get GoDaddy Arrow. And just copy one of my websites. Tell the AI, go to this website and copy its format. I've got an FAQ section. Why are you doing this? It seems pretty terrible. Yeah, I know it looks terrible, but it's really not, because I love the church and God's people, and if you'll just listen, we'll do this, and maybe you can get into a better church in town. And then you have about so-and-so church. Like, this is the history of this church. Stephen Furtick's church gives the history of how he founded it. Write some compelling prose. Yeah, I'm a good writer. If you're not a good writer, just have AI do it, okay? That's simple. So you've got an FAQ, you've got an about website, and then you need to have some kind of media site. Now, if you're doing a church like Elevation that's super popular nationwide, Stephen Furtick's winning Dove Awards, somebody else will have already made YouTube videos and sermon reviews about it. So if you go to yelevation.com, I have sermon reviews on there, but I didn't do them. Chris Roseborough did. I just asked if I could use his. And then I have some YouTube videos that people make YouTube videos about him being terrible all the time. And then you need to have some sort of like a blog or update section, because they constantly are doing something terrible. So let's say Stephen Furtick came out with another coloring book of himself saying he's the visionary for the children to follow. You would put that on the update page. So there you go. FAQ, updates, sermon reviews, media page. Now, let's say they don't have them. Well, you need to make 3 or 4 sermon reviews before you open the website. So they all post their sermons online, and now you can do this through your own YouTube channel, or you can do it through audio like I have. You sit there, you play their sermon on YouTube, and either record it with your phone or record it with your screen recorder. Let their preacher say something stupid or unbiblical, stop it and say, this is not how he applied the Bible. The Bible really says this. Apply it for the person. And hit play and let him preach on. And then stop it again. So, well, I don't know about that. If you don't have the skill to do that, make all the other website work and contact me. I can do 2 or 3 of them for you. Eventually, we're going to get to where AI can do it. I bet there's AIs that will listen to audio and do this for you now. I do it the old-fashioned way. So yeah, that's how you do it. That's all it takes. It takes very little startup capital. It takes passion and commitment, and you got to know what you're doing and be sure of it. So there you go. And James, I encourage you to start one. And if you have a particular church in mind, share it with me and ask your friends for help. And I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to get my gas and car wash. And now I'm back. 1 second for you, but long enough to get gas for me and a $4 car wash, $3.50 car wash. You get $1 off of gas if you buy a $16 car wash. Max 15. So you see how the math works. Oh my gosh. Getting in and out of Buc-ee's is precarious business. All right, let's go to today's show title. What did I call it? This is an old one. All right, I threw the paper down and I can't find it.